All right, let's get right into it. We talk a whole lot about the big shift to a clean energy economy, right? But what's really driving that shift? Well, it's not a fuel like oil or gas. It's a material. It's the lithium-ion battery. And you have to understand, this is so much more than just a component in your phone or your car. It's literally becoming the foundation of a brand new global power system. And the race to control it, oh, it's already well underway.
And you've seen the promise, right? It's all around us. Those sleek electric vehicles gliding almost silently down our highways. These massive battery farms popping up, storing solar and wind power, keeping our grids from flickering. It's this exciting, clean, really efficient future, and it feels like it's just right around the corner.
And this is the big question, what's actually powering all of this? Behind every single one of those EVs, every one of those grid-scale batteries, there's this incredibly complex global network, a kind of hidden system that brings them to life. And when you start to look closely at that system, you can't help but wonder, in our big rush to break free from our dependence on oil, are we just accidentally stumbling into a new one, a dependency that might be even more fragile?
So to really get what's at stake here, you've got to follow the journey of a single battery. Think of it like a giant global conveyor belt. A battery doesn't just appear out of thin air. It's pieced together from materials that travel all over the planet. So let's follow that path for a minute.
Okay, so it all starts deep in the earth, mining for raw materials like lithium, cobalt, and nickel. Then, those materials get shipped off to be refined into these super pure battery-grade chemicals. Next, they're transformed into the real heart of the battery, the anode and the cathode. And only then can they finally be assembled into a battery cell, the basic building block. And the final step? Stacking all those cells together into a pack and putting it into an EV. It's a 5-step journey that literally spans continents.
But here's the catch. This is where you find the critical vulnerability. That so-called global conveyor belt, it's not nearly as global as it sounds. From the moment those raw materials get processed, all the way through making the components and the final battery cells, that conveyor belt runs overwhelmingly through one single country, China.
And if you want just one number to really make this hit home, think about this. More than 75% of all the world's lithium-ion battery cells are made in China. That means 3 out of every 4 batteries that are supposed to power our electric future, they come from the factories of one nation.
And look, this is no accident. It's not some historical fluke. You can see here that back in 2020, China already had 76% of the manufacturing capacity. And even when you look ahead to 2025, with everyone else trying to catch up, China is still projected to hold on to a staggering 73%. This is a deliberate, long-term strategic position.
So the big question is, why does this matter so much? Why is having this one part of the world be so dominant? Why is that so risky? Well, let's break down exactly what's at stake. And hey, don't just take my word for it. A major U.S. Department of Energy-backed project called Leabridge put it in really stark terms. They called the situation a, quote, serious threat to U.S. national and economic security. I mean, that is some seriously strong language coming from the top experts in this field. The whole threat really boils down to 3 core risks. First up, economic power. The industries that actually use batteries, we're talking cars, aviation, electronics, that whole market is more than 20 times bigger than the battery market itself. So if you give up control of the battery, you're basically giving up influence over those gigantic downstream economies. Second, national security. The U.S. military depends on advanced batteries for literally everything, communications, weapon systems, you name it. Relying on a supply chain controlled by a potential adversary, that's a massive vulnerability. And finally, our climate goals. Let me put it simply. Net zero by 2050 is a fantasy without a secure, reliable supply of batteries, period.
And just when you thought it couldn't get more complicated, you throw this into the mix. While the supply is concentrated, the demand is just exploding. That incredibly steep curve you see, that's the world's hunger for batteries, and it's set to grow exponentially by 2030. This puts an insane amount of pressure on that already fragile supply chain, which makes disruptions or shortages, well, not just possible, but pretty darn likely.
Okay, so that's the problem. It's a big one. But faced with these kinds of risks, the United States is definitely not standing still anymore. A really high-stakes race is now on to rebuild the domestic supply chain and, secure the nation's energy future. The strategy is kind of like a 1-2 punch. On one side, you've got the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, the IIJ. Think of that as the Build It policy.
It's pumping billions of dollars into building the actual physical stuff in the US, the mines, the refineries, the factories. Then, on the other side, you've got the Inflation Reduction Act, or IRA. That's the buy it policy. It creates these huge tax credits that basically push companies and people to make and buy batteries and EVs that are made right here in North America.
So the goal here is crystal clear. Build a complete, resilient domestic supply chain from scratch. And this is about closing a really critical gap. See, the US has always been amazing at innovation, at the research and development part, but it really fell behind when it came to scaling that up into high-volume manufacturing. The new goal is to connect that American innovation directly to American factories. But this is where the strategy gets really, really smart. The ultimate goal isn't just to copy the old global conveyor belt and, build a version of it at home. The end game is to create a totally new, much more efficient, and way more secure system. They call it mining the loop. Now, this concept is key, a circular battery economy. In this kind of system, a dead battery isn't garbage. It's a gold mine. It's a rich source of valuable materials. So instead of just getting tossed in a landfill, it's collected, it's processed, and its core components, the lithium, the nickel, the cobalt, are recovered and then fed directly back into the start of the supply chain to make brand new batteries. It turns a problem into a massive strategic asset.
This slide just lays it out perfectly. The old way, the global conveyor belt, it's linear. You dig something up, you make a product, and then you throw it away. It's fragile and it's totally dependent on foreign mining. The new way, mining the loop, is circular. It's resilient because your new supply of materials, well, it's the millions of old batteries you already have right inside your own borders.
And this shift is just profound. We're talking about moving from relying on these global mines, which are scattered all over politically sensitive parts of the world, to building what are called urban mines. These are advanced recycling facilities located right here at home, ready to recover the huge amount of materials that are locked inside the tens of millions of EV batteries that are going to start reaching the end of their lives in the next few years.
Now, the key thing that comes out of these urban mines is this stuff called black mass. It's what you get when you shred up old batteries. And it's not waste at all. It's this valuable, concentrated powder that has all the key metals you need for new batteries. It's basically the recycled gold of the 21st century.
So what's the potential here? Is this just a nice idea? No way. It's enormous. You can see how, over time, the amount of material we can get from recycled batteries could actually satisfy a huge chunk of our total demand. We would essentially be mining our own garbage, creating a secure, domestic, and sustainable resource that dramatically cuts down our need to go digging for new materials abroad.
So you see, the true revolution in our energy system, it isn't just about going electric. It's about building a closed-loop, circular system to keep it all going.
Which brings us right back to the final critical question. The geopolitical race of the 20th century was all about who controlled the oil fields. Well, the race of the 21st century is already shifting. It's not just about who can make the most batteries anymore. It's about who can build the most efficient, the most dominant circular system. The race is on. The question is, who will control the loop?
And that's our explainer. The race for the loop is officially on, and whoever wins is going to shape the future of energy for a long, long time. Thanks for watching.